am Ricardo Drue. I am an entertainer. The genre of focus is soca, but I like to consider myself an artist overall. I'm a son of the Caribbean. I was born in Antigua. I was raised in Trinidad and Tobago, and then of course the confusion comes when I was, I lived in Florida. So, and I've spent a good chunk of my adult life, of course, chasing the dream, as they would say, chasing soca, making sure that, I contribute to the culture and contribute to my passion for it. So yeah.
That's you in a nutshell. All right, so let's get more into it then. So, okay, you were born in Antigua, grew up in Trinidad, then moved over to Florida, right?
Correct.
So let's say if you didn't move to Florida, right? Let's say you stayed in Trinidad. How do you think things would be different?
The honest question is, I feel. See, I don't know, man. The reason why I left Trinidad is because I was getting into a lot of trouble as a youth. I was in the wrong circles. And, my grandfather at the time, who was living in Florida, decided that, it didn't make sense for me to be there and completely just destroy whatever I had going for me. So he sent for me right away. And that actually shifted and changed the direction of, just my thoughts, actions, everything. That was the changing point in my life.
I see. All right. So then if we go back even further now, so let's say if you stayed in Antigua, do you think you would have got into, all the things you did?
I can't tell you because I left Antigua when I was like a baby. So I was born, and maybe like a couple months after, I was in Trinidad.
Okay. All right. So then musically then, how do you think things would have been if you'd stayed in Antigua?
Now, you see, this is the crazy part about it, right? So musically, I started in Florida. So as you would see how my life progressed, it went from Antigua to Trinidad to Florida. How my music progressed, it went from Florida. I started in Florida, then went back to Trinidad.
Yeah.
Didn't realize that it wasn't working in Trinidad, then went to Antigua. And that is where I ended up having, the majority of my success. Well, the initial success with Vagabond. So it came from Antigua, actually, just being a part of the environment, being around and the level of difficulty that it is to move an Antiguan crowd. It will mold any artist once you're motivated to get to that point. Because they're very, very, very difficult. If they enjoy you, they will support you. They will, but if there's a disconnect, you're gonna have to work really hard to fix it. So over about a 5-year period, I would have spent, just trying to find ways to get them to move, find songs to get them to enjoy. And then we came out with a song called Superman, and after Superman, we came up with Vagabond. So, of course, I must pay respects to Antigua because, as I said, they molded me into what would have started that.
I see. So are you saying then that the Antiguan crowd is actually worse than the Trini crowd? Because talking to the Trini artists, they say that the Trini crowd is tough,
No, I mean, every crowd is tough, every crowd has their, as we call it, their cement, where people mix in the cement, and if you don't catch it, they hit you with the brick one time. But for me, I think islands like Antigua, St. Kitts, Grenada, St. Vincent, you see these countries here, they are very, very tough. And when I say tough, I mean in all aspects. Even how they party, you would feel like if you come to Antigua and you see us partying, you'll think that we are fighting. But it's not necessarily the case. We just party wild. And that comes with the performance. If you don't bring that kind of energy immediately, then you end up kind of, okay, well, this is not our thing, this is not our style. I find in Trinidad, I find that we, we artists get a lot more opportunity, a lot more chance. So like I find that a Trinidadian crowd will rock back and say, let me see what he has to offer, kind of thing. And that is how I feel about that.
I see. So then going over to Antigua then and performing there and stuff like that, how long do you think it took them to really take you?
I'm still convincing. I'm still convincing them. I have my die-hard fans in Antigua and that I will never turn my back on. But of course there are, not everybody's gonna like you. Not everybody's going to think that what you're doing is as great as you might think it is in your head, or as great as you're selling it. So I've run into a lot of ups and downs, with my home, in terms of who thinks that, I'm a Trinidadian and who thinks I'm an Antiguan. So when I go to Trinidad, they're like, oh, no, you're an Antiguan. And when I go to Antigua, they're like, oh, you're a Trinidad. But I mean, for me, the love is there. So I tend not to focus on that anymore. I used to really, really, really harbor on it. I used to say, oh, every time I perform, I'd go on stage and say, I'm from Antigua, you want to see my passports? And everybody be like, you see people in the crowd, oh, come on, man, like, come on, just, we over it. And it's always good to see, because like when I have certain accomplishments in my life, like when Khaled put Vagabond in the video, when I came third place in Antigua, you would see my Antiguans stand up, and they would stand up very proud. So, and my Trinidad fans, they stand up very proud for me as well. So I have to big up everybody, man.
Yeah, definitely. I see someone, DJ Flex, big up to DJ Flex. I see him drop a comment saying professional drinker. We're going to get onto that. I've got a question for you.
Big up Flex, man.
So let's talk a little bit about the band that you were in before. Because I know you were in one band and then you were in another.
Right.
So talk about band life, basically, versus solo life.
Band life. So, like, my band life is like, I felt like an orphan at one point. So I started off in a band called Image and Company. They were known as Second Image way back in the day. And I would have spent about a good 5 to 6 years with them, really trying to break into the Trinidad markets. And then one day, I was writing a song and I thought that this song would be perfect for blacks. You understand? And when I took the song to blacks, I called blacks actually. I said, hey, I have this song I'd like you to demo for me or to try. So he said, come to the band room. He didn't want to hear the demo. He wanted me to sing the song. So when I got there now, he said, you know what, don't sing it, I'll play it. So he plays it and it's in front of everybody. Now, this is the All-Stars, Roy Cape All-Stars. So at that time, one of the biggest bands, and still one of the biggest bands in the world. And they were all listening to it. So you can imagine small old me, just in the corner, just waiting and watching for all these stars who have gone through the soca industry, listening to this demo. So halfway through the demo, Black stops the music and says, hey, who's singing on that? I said, me. He says, who's doing the backgrounds? I said, me. He says, we have an audition tomorrow. We'd like you to audition, And so I was like, wow, for real? And then I went and I auditioned the day after, and that was the start of my second wave in my career in Trinidad. Now, we didn't even reach to, international success. We're just trying to break through in the Trinidad market. And I remember having to go back to Second Image and Company the next day and tell them my decision. And it was rough. It was rough because at that point in time, we were all trying to accomplish this goal. But I felt like being a part of the All-Stars would have given me the opportunity I needed in Trinidad to just be on a bigger stage, perform for more people. Excuse me. And then eventually after that, I started my own band, which is now the ID Nation.
Okay, I see. All right, cool. So would you say you prefer being in a band or do you prefer singing solo? Or maybe there's certain things you prefer in the situation.
I prefer band life. I prefer going on stage and having that drive, having that energy behind me, you know, being able to adjust on the fly. That's how I operate when I'm performing. Like if I see something in the crowd, I'm going towards that. And it's a little difficult to do with tracks. You know, it's a little bit, it's a lot difficult to do with tracks unless, you know, your DJ is like on the fly, or you have an Ableton guy. So I prefer band.
Okay. And kind of when you decided to kind of go solo initially, the first time after leaving a band, what was around it like?
It was an arrogant stage in my career. You know, I had reached a point in my career where I thought I had made it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I said to myself, man, you know, I got it. I got this song. It was a song called Superman in Antigua, and I said to myself, the song had blown up in Antigua, but of course Antigua is a small island. So I didn't really calculate that the waves that it was causing in Antigua wouldn't be enough to trickle around the world. Yeah. So, you know, of course, being young and you know, just coming up in the industry, I was just like, nah, man, I made it. Bungie saw me perform. This one saw me perform. They're going to go back to Trinidad and talk. And that didn't happen, you know. So I went to the All Stars and I said, I'm all right. I'm going to do this solo thing. I think that lasted about 3 months before I called them back and said, hey, guys, I really want to come back. And I mean, I documented that on one of my episodes of a series I call Based on a True Story. Yeah. It was a very humbling experience that I needed to go through at that point in time to understand my place in the industry and understand that it's not as easy as I thought, and you know, it's a lot of hard work.
I see. So what were the other members' thoughts when you decided to leave initially, and then also when you decided you wanted to come back?
Ah, man, they all laughed at me. They definitely all laughed at me. You know, and that year was the year Blacks had Spread Your Hands on Lego. So Blacks was in everything. Blacks was like Salt. You know, yeah. He was in everything. And I remember thinking to myself, what the hell did I do that for? Like, and I was smacking myself. I was like, you're so stupid. Because they were in show after show after show after show. And at that point in time, the kind of money that they would have made that year could have changed my whole life. You understand? So for me, it was a really poor decision. It wasn't calculated at all.
Right, I see. Well, you know, you moved on from there. You live and you learn, right? You have to do.
As Flex knows, say, you have to learn to learn.
100%. Exactly. So, also what I want to talk about as well. What was it? Ricardo Drue Day, June 21st. Now, our June 21st in the UK is when we supposedly get to come out of lockdown. So that's why it's special for us. But talk to us more about why that day is special.
June 21st, man. That was around the time that the career was just starting to elevate a little bit. You know, Blacks and I went to Boston to do a show for the city, and apparently the city, you know, when they bring you up to do certain things, they establish a day that's going to be dedicated to you. Now I had no clue, because, you know, of course, it's just a young artist just I'm trying to go on a stage and I'm trying to perform. I want people to see me perform. I want people to dance. So I just said to myself, you know, I'm going to enjoy myself. And then one day they brought us into the ceremony and they were like, yo, we're dedicating this day to you. I was like, for me? So the Thursday, which was the 21st, and the Friday, they dedicated the Friday, so they called it Blacks Friday for Blacks, and the Thursday was for me.
Okay, I see. So now, kind of going forward, let's say even for this year, when June 21st comes around, what are you going to do? What's the plan? No, well,
I was for that specific year, so I don't necessarily believe that it was, you know, so the 21st, they could give it to somebody else. It was just a little special thing that they wanted to do for that specific year.
Understood. Understood. All right. And you're also a brand ambassador for Digicel, to my.
Well, not anymore, but I
Oh,
actually I do support Digicel whenever they need. They've been very kind to me over the years. I would have spent about a good 8 years with the company, and until they started to do some downsizing, and I enjoyed every moment of it.
But then, even from there, even from getting the ambassador title, what were you then thinking about? Was there anything else where you thinking, right, I've done that. This is what I want to do next.
Um, one of the things I can tell you that I didn't do in my younger years, and I'm speaking like I'm 50, but I'm not. But I've been through and seen a lot. One of the things that I didn't do was I didn't appreciate the moments that were happening to me at the time, because I was all, when you're so accustomed to not getting, that when you start to get, you start to look to the next thing. You start to say, okay, well, I got this 100,000, so I want 200,000, and you forget to appreciate the 100,000, the effort, the work, and that's what I did with a lot of things. It's like things like the ambassadorship. For me, it was a big deal, yes, but I was so focused on trying to get the next accomplishment that I never really sat down to think and appreciate, the little things or the big things that were happening. So
Okay.
I can't answer that question for you.
Well, you kind of, you still gave your view on it, which is
Yes,
understandable. Sometimes you do have to take more time to appreciate these things.
indeed, indeed.
So I want to talk more about the Drue story. Your series
Right.
talking about various moments, situations in your life. Now,
Mhm.
when you initially decided to put it out, did you have any like last minute concerns or thoughts just as you were about to release the first episode?
To be real honest with you, man, no. At this point in time, when I wanted to put out based on a Drue story, I I think it was at a very low point in my career. The music was not hitting at all. The support that I would have had in 2015 and 2016 and 17, I didn't have like that again. And of course, it would have been because of certain decisions that I would have made, and then, of course, the interpretation, and the perception that people would have had. And I hold myself responsible for that, because I should have thought more in depth about certain things. So at that point in time, for me, I just wanted to get what I wanted to get off my chest. I just wanted to speak. I just wanted to tell my side. And at this point in time, whoever wants to listen can listen. And that's what I started to do. And this was in the very, very first stages of COVID, when the lockdown was actually happening. So,
Yeah.
I tested it out with a little episode that it wasn't that personal. And then when I started to see the response, episode by episode by episode, it started to get a little more deep. It started to get a little more in depth. And it turned out to be something that I really appreciate.
Okay. Now, obviously, I think from watching a couple of episodes, I know you've got various people involved talking about maybe their involvement and their thoughts
Right.
and things like that. But behind the scenes, is there anyone in particular, whether they were in an episode or not, that
Mm-hmm.
maybe would have said to you, oh, you know what? I don't really know if this is a good idea. Maybe you shouldn't.
Yeah, there were some family members. Your older family members gonna be like, everything don't need to be on social media, Ricardo. It don't need to be on social media. My grandmother was very, very much against it. My aunt was very much against it. And then of course some people in my life, even suicide, even Patrice at one point in time was like, you sure you really want to put this out there like that? And for me, what I realized with the Drue stories is that even though I was speaking, at first I wanted to get my story out for people to hear.
Yeah.
And then for me, I realized it was a little bit therapeutic for me, you know, like, so like I was legitimately sitting down and having a conversation with myself. And as I was talking about it, I was starting to figure out little things that I didn't understand, you know. So like, you know, at one minute you'd be like, oh snap, so it really was my fault. those kind of things. And that's really what it was.
Okay. All right. I want to get an idea from you as well. You know, what is one of the best ways to address rumors, or, you know, if you've done something wrong and you want to just put your statement out there to maybe apologize, what's the best and worst way, do you think?
For me, the best way to do it is really to just be real and as honest as possible. The worst way to do it is to provide excuses and to give reasons as to why you did it, especially if you're trying to apologize. Like, so for me, I'm just gonna say, oh, you know what, I kicked the bear down, it's my fault, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You understand? And then, you know, I will say, okay, cool, this is the reason why I did it, and now I understand why I'm wrong. But you see, the minute where you start to say, well, yeah, I only did it because Sarah was pushing me, and Sarah get me mad, and you see, when you get there, people are just gonna be like, okay, well, he is one big narcissist here, boy. What's going on? And so for me, that's the best way and the worst way.
Okay, because I know recently one topic that's been very much trending is a particular self-love ambassador decided to, you know, after rumors being said about him cheating on his wife, he decided to go live on Instagram with his wife, holding her hand, and you know, he decided to say, yes, I did it. She started saying, yes, I've forgiven him, blah, blah, right? Now, if we look at, I'm going to look at the episode in particular, the breakup song that you did, right? Now, obviously, Patrice is a very private person. So let's just say if she wasn't, like, what do you think about handling, addressing something in that kind of way? Is that the best way to do it, or not really?
It really depends on the relationship that you guys have. And if it is not something like, so for example, I'm just going to be 100% honest here with the breakup song. I'm sorry, for the people that are asking, you can find the episodes on my YouTube channel. It's Drue Music, ITSDRUEMUSIC. Check them out. We have 2 seasons, and actually season 3 is being shot now. So for the breakup song episode, where Patrice was concerned, Patrice did not want me to air that. And she didn't want me to air it because she felt like we were in a space where, where it wasn't necessary, it wasn't needed. And of course, that combined with her being as private as she is, it just didn't register to her why. But for me, I felt like it was something that needed to be said, and people needed to hear it from not just from my side, but also from her side, so the interpretation and the perception could just be shifted, although it really didn't shift, you know, as much as I thought it would have. But you know, at least the narrative from the both of us, you know, was shifted, and for me, that's all that mattered, you know. And after a while, it people didn't even care, you know. People were like, yo, I went through this, you know, I experienced something like this. And for me, it went from trying to prove that this is what it is to, you know what, this is my experience and this is how I had to deal with it, and you're not alone, kind of thing. So it really depends on the conversation and the interaction that you're having with the person, whether it's your friend, your partner, whatever. It just depends on the relationship.
Okay. And I see that particular episode ended with a bit of a cliffhanger. I believe we're waiting for...
Right.
And you started to explain the story about a particular song. And then I thought, huh? So when are we going to get the rest of that?
I don't know. You know, I feel like you want to say hi? Say hi.
Hi. Hello. How are you doing? Miss Superstar.
Oh, she can't hear you. Say I'm
Hey,
not feeling good.
how you doing?
I'm not feeling good.
Oh, why? What's wrong? What's up?
My cousin gave me the cold. His name is Zany.
Oh, no. Rest up, okay?
Okay.
All right.
All right. So bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, Mama. Go. Thank you.
You must do a kiss. I love it. I forgot to ask. I wanted to know from Lily what she would want to do to change the world. You have to ask her for one, please.
Hold on, Lily. 1 second, quickly. So, she has a question for you really quickly.
Okay.
Okay, so Lily, you know you did the song, you were on the song Change the World that your daddy did, right? So
Yeah.
what would you want to do to change the world?
To change the world.
Yeah, what would you want to do? Like what would you want to change? If you could change anything in the world, what would you want to change?
A house.
A house, okay. Nice,
What
nice.
happened to the house you in now?
Huh?
What happened to the house you in now?
She wants a new one.
What would you do to change the world? Would you go see your brothers? Would you stop people from being hungry? What would you do? Tell me.
I would stop people from being hungry.
Oh,
Aw,
yeah?
that's good. That's good.
All right. Okay, you could go ahead now. Say bye-bye to the people.
Bye-bye.
And tell
Bye.
them what day it is. What's the day?
Taco Tuesday.
Yay!
Thanks, Mom.
First,
Yeah.
first interview. Crazy.
Yeah.
Amazing stuff. All right. So with the rest of the stories then,
Mm-hmm.
what are we
Oh, big up Barry Hype. Big up Barry Hype. Go ahead. Sorry.
about to? Yeah. So what else are we expecting? I don't want you to necessarily go into it too much because then you're just revealing everything. But
Mm-hmm. Well, we actually are shooting another series, another season. Sorry, season 3 of Based on a True Story. And this season now is basically what would have happened from 2018 to now. Okay, so for season 1 would have been from like 2009 to 2014. Season 2 would have been from 2015 to 2017, and then now from 18 to 20. So this is like my separation with the All Stars, how that went. Things that would have just fallen apart in my life that I was going through. I grew up in a very abusive household. Little things like that, things that I went through, and that I noticed that a lot of people are going through but are afraid to speak about. You understand? And for me, it's like, I don't really I don't consider myself to be a celebrity at all. So there are some people that may consider it and some people that don't, but I don't. I consider myself to be a human, normal, just like everybody else. And for me, I just feel like I have a little influence here and there. So if I'm going through something and I could share my experience, that just might shift what somebody else is going through, or make somebody make a better or a different decision, then I feel like I can do that. I'm not obligated to, but I can. And that's just my objective with this.
Okay, cool. All right. So we'll look out for those. And when roughly should we be expecting it? Just remind us. Just so you know.
We actually in the last couple episodes, shooting the last couple episodes. So I would say like maybe the beginning of April, beginning to the middle of April.
Yeah. Okay. And it might be a little bit too early to say, but could we then expect maybe like a season 4, or you just want to see how this one goes and then?
Yeah, I intend to have my Drew stories to go on based on the experiences that I have in my life. So I don't intend to stop at season 3 and just be like, okay, cool, but I just feel like as they come, I'll let them out. And to be real honest with you, I wasn't going to do a season 3 just so soon, but after Patsy and I released Toxic Love, there was so many rumors that were circulating about my personal life that I decided that, you know, I wanted to address certain things, not because I felt obligated to, but because, you know, Patrice is a human, you know, my daughter is a human, my son's a human, my son's mother, she's a human being, and they see these things and they feel a certain way. And if me as a man can't stand up and defend or support or put them in a position to be looked at differently, then who am I?
Well, true. And I imagine certain rumors, for example, they will maybe even see before you even see, or they might hear before you even hear, and so on and so
Indeed.
forth, you know? So you mentioned toxic love there. So when obviously there was the whole thing behind the breakup song,
Hmm.
so were you then worried about what was going to come from toxic love, or at this point are you just like, I really don't care, I'm putting it out?
Um, you know, that's a good question. I was concerned, but not about not about what you're asking me. My concern was more of the song is called Toxic Love, but the message in the song is not about being toxic. The message in itself was basically telling people like, look, I broke up with you yesterday because we fallen out, and my relationship is different from the next person next door. You understand? And just because we might have a little more disagreements than you, that doesn't necessarily mean that our relationship is toxic. You know? So for me, it that was the message behind the song. Like, if people want to call you toxic, let them call you toxic. Whatever their opinion is, but that's not what it is. This is real. And my concern was that people would think that we were supporting being toxic, which they did. You know, and Patrice took a lot of fire for that too. You know, people were like, um, you know, why is she supporting this? She's supposed to be a queen and she's supposed to be a that. But if you really listen to the lyrics of the song, it's telling you, yo, everybody takes different lengths of time to figure it out. And that was my concern. 'Cause I wanted to call the song They Say. But everybody else was like, no, call it Toxic Love, because, you know, that's what people are going to call it anyway. And I went with the majority. I shame on you, Ricardo.
Well, it's kind of a controversial title, and I guess that helps to draw people in, you know. And it got 100K views in 24 hours as well, right? So
It did, and that's the power of the queen. I call her the queen. There are many queens in this industry, but of course, you know, she's my queen, so I definitely call it the power of the P.
I love that. And you know what? There's the saying of, you know, behind every successful man is a successful woman. So what do you think about that quote?
I believe it. You know, I believe it because you know, in certain aspects and positions of your life, you know, you can be ignorant, you can be stupid, you can be naive, you can be weak, and sometimes it just takes that one person to give you that support, to give you that strength, to give you that motivation. And in most cases, it's your significant other. It's so, you know, as just like they say, behind every man is a good woman, behind every woman is a good man. And so I believe in it. I think it's true.
Yeah, cool. All right. And if there's anything in particular that she's taught you that's completely changed your life, and something that you've taught her that's completely changed her life, what would you say those two things would be?
Um, Man, there's a lot. You know, Patrice gave me my first daughter. That completely changed my life. It changed a total perspective for me. You know, growing up, I saw things one way. You know, I saw things in the household one way that I didn't even realize that I was putting out until I had a daughter. You understand? And some people will be like, ah, yeah, you only realize it now. Well, I mean, at least I realized it, you know, and that is something for sure that changed my life.
Definitely. And then do you know, maybe, I know obviously she's not here to necessarily confirm, but do you think there's anything that you've taught her that's maybe changed her life as well?
Um, I don't want to speak for her. But for me, like my goal has always been to try and boost that confidence, that that strength, that I can go out here and stand up in front of the world, and this whole world could not like me, but I don't care. I like me. When I first met P, she was in a doubtful state. I don't want to say insecure. She was in a doubtful state where you'd question yourself. You grow up and you have questions. You're not sure if this is, if that is. And for me, my goal was always to try and to just give her that little extra support, that little extra strength. So that's what I would like to say, but I can't speak for her.
Okay. Well, you ask her later on, and she can confirm. Okay, so with Toxic Love, you did say that obviously the song isn't saying that you're in a toxic relationship, right?
Right.
And for anyone who's watched the video, the theme of it is the whole like Joker and Harley Quinn kind of thing.
Right.
So then what film would you say does actually reflect your relationship, if there's any film title that comes to mind?
I can't put a film on it. I really can't. Man, you know what? I'm gonna call the movie Life. Life, man. This journey, it's so crazy. It's so crazy, man. And it's one journey, but everybody has it, and it just goes in different directions. So no, I can't say.
No? Okay. And then even with your relationship with anyone else within, let's say, the soca music industry, is there a film that you can kind of relate to your relationship with that person? Okay, it looks like Ricardo's frozen, but let me know, guys. Let me know if you can still see and hear me, so I know, just in case it's on my side. Let's just check. Okay, I think it's Drew. Let's get him back in. Whilst we're waiting, if you just make sure you subscribe to the Carnival Slayers YouTube and also share this live while we wait for him as well, and follow us on TikTok. And drop your questions into the questions box too. Don't forget to do that, because now's the time. Now's the time to drop your questions. Okay, so we've got him back. So
Hello.
hey, you're back. Brilliant. All right, cool. So yeah, that's okay. Don't worry. Don't worry. So just to go back to the question, what I was asking is there anyone else in the music industry where you can think of a film that reflects the relationship that you have with them?
That's a deep question. I'm not offhand. I'd have to really process that.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. I knew it would be a difficult question, but I thought let me try just in case.
Yeah. Sorry. I wish I could have helped there.
Right. That's all right. So obviously we've been through this big crazy pandemic and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's one song in particular called "I Got You," right? One of your songs.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. Now, at the beginning of that, even though it didn't come out within the pandemic, but at the beginning of that song, you talk about friendships and having friends that are very much there for you no matter what, and you're there for them, vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
But within this pandemic, is there anyone within the music industry who you weren't very close to before, but now you've got that relationship where they would literally do anything for you, you do anything for them?
Yeah, man. There's a few people, man. Pretty is one of them. You know, when this pandemic hit, Pretty and I actually got really close in terms of, you know, relationships and, you know, the things that he would have went through with his father, the things I would have went through with my father, you know, being a father and having to go through those kind of struggles. And, you know, over that process and at that timeline, we were able to just connect on levels that I didn't look for Pretty in on those levels, you understand? And likewise, he's definitely one. Terry Lyons, she's another. And even Patrice, you know, and I want to say that very carefully, because you know people like to munch and screenshot and whatever. But what I mean by that is that this pandemic actually put us in a space where we had to look at things differently. You know, we had to look at, you know, things as a collective as opposed to one, two, and then we come together. You know, so a lot changed in terms of our communication, in terms of, you know, how we looked at things. So yeah, a couple people will.
All right, and we've got a question here in the comments from someone asking, what would you do differently in your relationship if you could go back?
What would I do differently in my relationship if?
If you could go back. So I don't know if they mean in terms of to the beginning or what, you know.
I can tell you, I would have been a little bit more stern on my decisions. So there would have been times where like I had to make a decision, but because it was so confusing or there was so much going on at the time, I just rocked back and just let it crash into each other and burn and that was fear, that was insecurity, that was me saying to myself, you know, I don't really want to deal with this, so I'm going to just let it. And letting it crash and burn or letting it crash into each other caused other people around me a lot more pain than they needed to go through. Now, if there's one thing I will always say, I was blessed with good people in my life. You understand? Like, so the mother of my three sons, great person. You understand? Patsy, great person. And for me, I would have made poor decisions in terms of actually making decisions. And for me, if I had to go back, I'd have been a little more stern. I'd have made better decisions and just try to be strong and less insecure.
Okay. Also, with Toxic Love, you've obviously got the live version with you and Patrice singing it. And one of the comments on there was from someone saying that they prefer the live version to that song. What's your thoughts on that? Do you prefer the live version or do you prefer?
I love the song in general, man. You know, the song came to me and however the song came to me, it was so special. Like I was sitting on top of a roof, I was looking at the stars, and I happened to walk downstairs and walk outside and hear Pretty having a conversation with P. And the last thing he said in the conversation was like, yeah, bro, that's some toxic crap. And I was just like, how come nobody really is singing about this? So I went upstairs, I wrote the song, I came downstairs. Now I wrote the song to no music at all. All right, so I'm writing the song upstairs and then I come downstairs and I'm on YouTube and I'm listening to this rhythm on YouTube. And I see Steven was the executive producer. So I messaged Steven and I said, hey, can I see this rhythm? And the song just fit perfectly on it. And then everything just fell into place for the song, from the video, from, you know, Patrice wasn't even supposed to be on the song. I wrote the song for me to sing by myself. And then one morning I woke up and said, B, you want to do this? And she said, yeah. And so whether it's live, whether it's on the regular track or not, I love the song, period.
Okay. And she didn't have any like things of thinking like, oh, but people might think this, that, and the other. I don't want to have to deal with people making up things.
I think Patrice is in a space right now where I think the opinions of people, especially people that don't know her, don't really move her too much. Um, and it's a good space to be in, man. Like,
Definitely.
uh, it's definitely a good space to be in because a lot of people have somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that knows the situation, and don't necessarily know the situation.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. I want to talk a little bit about the song "Change the World," which we briefly
Right.
spoke about.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. Tell me your thoughts behind the song. I want to know your favorite line from the song. Actually, what is it about?
Well, my favorite line in the song is definitely because of my children. And that is, I would make ice cream a breakfast. Right? My kids adore that line, and every time they hear it, they go, I want ice cream for breakfast. Daddy, I would like ice cream for breakfast. And then my next favorite line in the song is actually Lily's line, where she starts the song and she says, Daddy, one day I'm going to change the world. I really believe that. I really believe that I really believe that my sons, they're going to make a difference. You know, I could feel it in their spirit. I could see it in their innocence. And, you know, my job is to really just try and, you know, focus on that and help them push it as far as possible.
So, what made you decide to get Lily at the beginning of the song?
It's just like Toxic, it was just a vibration, man. Like, you know, I felt like the song was speaking about everything that was going on at the time, which would have been, you know, the protests and the riots and, you know, all the negativity that was going on. And I feel like there's so much genuine love towards Liara from the public that I felt like putting her on the record would have been like a breath of fresh air for those who support me. And it would have given her an opportunity because every time we're around each other, she always wants to vlog, she always wants to sing, she wants to do something. And you know, I felt like it'd be a good opportunity for her to just feel what it feels like. And so said, so done. Anytime she hears that song, she goes, Daddy, my song's on the radio. My song, okay? It's not your song, it's mine. So
I do love that. I do love that. So, what's the feedback been on it? And also, did you write the song specifically for that rhythm, or did you just have the song and then decide to pair it?
the feedback on the song is great. The feedback on the song is great. No, I did not. Yes, the song was written specifically for that rhythm. So Private Ryan would have sent it to me, and I sent it to Drastic. Drastic was he sent me back this whole change the world concept, and then I just started to fine tune it and put my verses and stuff like that in it. So I must big up Drastic.
And what's the feedback been on it? Because for me personally, when I first heard it, I'm thinking more of the rhythm, and your voice sounds good on it. But then I feel like that brought me in, and then that's when I started to really listen to the words more and start thinking about what you're saying. So
Right.
is that what other people have been doing? Do you think people are actually taking in lyrics?
You know, to be honest with you, Change the World has been a slow creeper. So like, you know, for example, Toxic just shut up. You know, and we got feedback pretty fast. Change the World just been slow. Like I'll get people messaging me like, you know, I will get personal calls like, yo, I really appreciate the song. Like this song is exactly what we need at this point in time. That's the kind of feedback that I've gotten. So I think because the feedback is so slow and the way it comes in, I think the majority of feedback I've gotten is like yours, where people, you know, they start to, you know, because a lot of times when the rhythm release, I remember everybody was like, "Yeah, the Adamo is the best," and you know, big up Adam because I'm really happy for him. And then eventually, I hear people starting to say, "But change the world," though, like, you know. So it's good to see, and I hope it continues to grow.
And it's weird because if I tell you the lyrics, the part of the song that caught me in the first place to then make me listen to the lyrics actually has nothing to do necessarily with changing the world. When you say bad like a Friday, I don't know what it was, but it just made me think, I'm bad like a Friday? Oh, okay, wait.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Let's see where the song goes. But yeah, I really like that one. I do really like
Appreciate you. Thank you.
that one. So talk to us a bit more as well, just quickly about what else you've kind of got going on, what we should be expecting.
I'm sorry. Repeat that. It broke in and out.
Oh, so just explain to us, just give us an idea of, what else we should be expecting from you musically.
Musically, we are looking to release another record in the next month or so. This song is called Happy Music. And I guess that really speaks for itself. Of course, as I would mention to you, we have the Drue stories coming up. We also have another vlog coming up as well, called On a Date. So you can look out for that. And with our industry, things are so fast. Even though this pandemic hit, it's like we turn over so much that you can expect a lot more than I'm saying right now, and we just don't know what it is.
And then is there anything non-musically, whether it's like merchandise?
Yeah, we're definitely gonna do some merch. Once Toxic reaches 1 million views on YouTube, we're actually gonna drop the merch for it for some appreciation, let people know, we really appreciate it. We're gonna have some special merch as well, that we're gonna be dedicating to the fans. We have some based on a true story merch. We have some homesick merch that's going to be coming out in the next couple months as well. So we're looking forward to that as well. P and I actually working on a secret project that we can't tell nobody. It's not music related though. So yeah, we have quite a few things, and even P, she has a lot of things going on. Me personally, I feel like she's gonna change the dynamic like pretty crazy very soon, and she right now I think she could sing Baba Black Sheep or ABC, and people are gonna be like what. We did an interview the other day, and they asked me what's P's favorite thing to cook, and I said, well, dumpling. Like, so Monday's dumpling, Tuesday's dumpling, Wednesday's dumpling and rice, Thursday's dumpling and chicken. And you will not believe that these people messaged me or privately and said, hey, you better eat that dumpling because it's Patrice's dumpling. I was like, okay, my bad. Just eat the dumpling quietly.
She's got some diehard fans. What were her thoughts on that? I don't know if you told her you got those messages. But
I didn't tell her that. I feel this. No, I'm good.
Oh my goodness. Just quickly going back to the song Change the World as well. Is there anything you wish you could do to change the world that you didn't actually talk about on the song?
Yeah, man. Yeah. I wish that a lot of fathers could be, more present in their kids' lives. You understand? That's for sure one of the things that I really, really, really wish. Racism out of the window. There's a lot of things, man. There's a lot of hungry people out here. Like I said earlier, I wish that I could be in a position to say, well, let's feed the whole world. My children, children that are going through a lot. We do a charity service in Antigua called ID Land, where I throw in a whole concert, and everything that we get from the concert goes straight to children. Because there's so many children that are going through things. That have visited the hospitals, and who's sick with cancer, and who has, all kind of issues that just can't be resolved because their parents just don't have it. So those things, I would just inject everything that I could to make sure that, that's just better. Mm-hmm. But unfortunately, we can't do everything. So we just have to keep doing it one step at a time.
We can't at all. All right, cool. And I've got just 2 more questions for you. There's one that was in the box, which I feel is very important. And I don't know if the person is going through this, but this is why I want to address it. But before that, mm-hmm. You've got the song Professional Drinker. Mm-hmm. Professional, I should say. So what I need to know is, in a situation where maybe you've got a few different fetes to go to throughout the day, you're going to be drinking a lot. What's your technique to make sure you get through without being so drunk you can't continue the rest of
Hardy har. Die har. Hope and pray. No, I've fortunately for me, I've never been in a position where I've been completely messed up. You know, I've been drunk. I've had some drunk days, but you know that point where like you doing all kind of dumb crap and you don't want nobody to hold you and you start calling out your grandfather name because that's the first person you remember. No, I've never been in those kind of situations. And especially when it comes to work, I try to keep, that aspect of it as clean as possible. I'll have my drink here or there, but I've never been in those kind of situations. I just try to stay as focused as possible.
Fair enough. Well, professional in that sense, right? So you got 2/3 of the song.
But when that song did come out, though, I could tell you the amount of people that tried to get me drunk. Oh, you say, especially when I went to Guyana, man. I went to Guyana and they tried to give me, well, because of my sponsorship, I can't say these names anymore, but they tried to give me every liquor in the book, one after the other. It was deadly. It was deadly.
I can imagine, definitely. Now, the question that we had in the box, let me just go back to it. Okay. What advice would you give to someone who's going through what you went through in an abusive house?
Man, the first thing I will say is do not bottle it up. Let that out. Speak to somebody, get it out, make sure that whatever you are suppressing, because a lot of times when we go through those things, the first thing, especially our generation, the first thing that we're told is to don't say anything because you don't want to put your whether it's your mother or whether it's your father or your grandfather in any kind of situation of harm. But they don't understand the kind of pain and destruction they are doing for you 20, 30 years down the line. And for me, that's the first thing. And then the second thing is to get yourself out. Get yourself out. And if you can't get yourself out, find somebody that can get you out. Because at the end of the day, all it will take is one mistake and your life is over, Just one simple mistake. And I've seen so many mistakes in my life where like I think about it now and I thought to myself, like if this person had just made the wrong turn, I may not have been here, or my whoever was in the situation may not have been here. And for me, that's it. Let it out and get out. Yes, princess. Excuse me.
Excuse me, Daddy. Where's Mommy's surprise?
I'll deal with that when I'm finished. Okay.
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 Yeah.
She's so cute. Hey. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. And so cute. Thanks for your time, and thank you so much for your very transparent honesty. We appreciate it.